Hello there,
Howdy.
and welcome to the PopCultureCult. I'm Sean,
And I'm Josh.
and this is the Rebel Files, your one-stop shop for everything Star Wars games, and
All the time.
and
All video games.
and news and notes and everything. With E3 going on, we got all kinds of Star Wars gaming news, just gaming news, period. But there happened to be some Star Wars stuff, and we're gonna spend a lot of time talking about games, but I also wanted to talk about Galaxy's Edge just a little bit. This week because we really haven't done anything the last couple of weeks.
No, we haven't. It's been full of business trips and everything else under the sun, and it's one of those things where it's kind of convenient that it falls into this time frame because hey, it's been a little vague on the news right up until E3 hit, so it worked out actually really well at the end of the day. But yeah, it's pretty much like everything started coming. I mean, from the VR side of things, it's been a huge week as well. Sony not being at E3 was rather interesting to see.
Yes.
So
I found that we were talking about that on the big show this week, was the fact that the Sony not being there really is starting to make everybody question the importance of what E3 is. And I think I talked about like the spectacle of E3 is what really draws me in. I'm not a big gamer, but I'm just there was been a ton of good announcements.
Yeah.
Nothing earth-shattering, but I don't think that earth-shattering with the way the news cycle and where everything works nowadays, I don't think that's really going to work.
Yeah, I think as far like just loosely on the E3 thing, I think the biggest takeaways from it, happened within like the last couple of days. You had obviously Fallen Order, that was a big trailer. Obviously they had that we just talked about. We had Legend of Zelda, that they are releasing a sequel.
Yes,
for Breath of the Wild,
that dropped this morning.
Which made me stupid happy this morning because I loved that game. It was the best Zelda game yet. And then, from the VR side of things, there were a lot of cool new additions that are being brought out, a lot of new ports coming to the Quest, which Oculus, please make some new ones because I'm trying to order and you're out of stock. So there's actually a lot of good things that dropped. The big one for me was actually Project Scarlet from Xbox.
From Xbox, yeah.
And I mean, I'm an Xbox kid. You're a PlayStation kid.
Yeah, I'm way better than you. It's okay.
You know why you win that argument right now? And to a friend of ours' point, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Days Gone. I'm stuck with that.
Destiny.
Unfortunately. Destiny, I got on Xbox. It was pretty decent. But Scarlet, the way they kind of announced it, I'm hoping they're doing what I think they're doing. And I hope they're making kind of a Switch-like device because they're talking about bringing in different mediums and everything else that makes it a little more portable. But the processing power they're talking about.
That was the big thing.
Yeah,
it was the big
huge.
thing. Yeah.
It's huge. 4 times the Xbox One X.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and that kind of...
do I need that much?
Well, if you are storing everything.
Here's the thing, and this kind of parlays and everything else. So they're going Xbox.
Keep talking.
If they're going to going 4 times Xbox One X, they're going to make it VR compatible.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
VR spec.
Yeah.
So they're going to do something to rival. They're probably going to announce that at some point.
Right.
They're going to make something to rival the PlayStation VR, and I'm assuming that it's going to make it a hard choice, honestly, because the PS5 specs are really nice too.
Yeah.
So I don't know which way I'm going to go.
Yeah, we'll see. It's always an interesting time during E3 where you're like, you have to start making life choices on what games you're willing to spend your money on and stuff. And it's like, I like this one and I like this one. Like I like Watch Dogs came out and it looks amazing and it's in London and it's post Brexit and I'm super excited.
That's what got me to Far Cry 4, the most recent Far Cry, because I was like, this is pretty.
Yeah,
and it is a pretty game.
Yeah. So let's get into welcome to Star Wars show.
Star Wars show, not the E3 show.
Let's talk about the park. Galaxy's Edge opened to the Disneyland one opened to a real. Did you watch the live stream, the 15-minute little live stream?
I watched part of it. That was like during the time that the graduation stuff, family was in town and everything else, so I didn't get the chance to sit down and crawl into my nerd cave.
In the grand scheme of things, it was kind of like, it was more cool to see the photos of everybody being there and stuff. Harrison saying, "This one's for you, Peter," and hitting the Millennium Falcon, turn the lights on and start the fireworks and stuff. That was cool. Bob Iger, it's Bob Iger, so whatever. But Mark Hamill was there, and Billy D. Williams was there, and George Lucas was there. George in his customary flannel. It was a cool watch. Really, though, the coolest part has been everybody who's gone to the park already, and even though it's not completely open yet, just we had a friend, Thor, was actually there
Yep.
this last week, and I'm going to curse here, so I'm apologizing ahead of time. But he's like, "What the fuck is this?" And he turns his camera around, and he's like, "It's the fucking Millennium Falcon." Like, I can't believe it's there. And
For candor, this is a man who's very reserved usually.
he's very
and
like,
you just watch him turn into this 6-year-old.
Yeah,
and it was actually awesome to see.
It was pretty awesome. But I'm going to talk about the costume thing because that seems to be the biggest issue that everybody's been having. You can wear Star Wars costumes in the park. What you can't do is wear like military, like rebellion kind of uniforms and that kind of thing. You can't wear robes, and it's all for security reasons. It has nothing to do with they don't want you to wear the costumes in the park.
Yep.
What that really comes down to is that if you have a big Jedi robe on, you can have anything you want really underneath it.
Correct.
And they want to keep it as relatively safe as you can make it when you've got thousands or hundreds of thousands of people going to the park on a regular basis. And so there's an article on Disney Parks website, disneyparks.com, and they have physical pictures of what is okay and what is not okay.
Yep.
If you still have a problem with with this, then you can wear the whole Jedi outfit, just not the robe.
Yeah.
You can wear the
no giant cloaks that you need to actually
no giant cloaks.
hide under. We're not trying to play Star Wars Highlander edition here. It's
right, you
really
can't.
Not the case.
You can't show up in like stormtrooper armor or in a full Chewbacca outfit or anything like that. They also want you not to get confused with members of the park, and so that part, they want to make sure that that's. But from what you've seen, is it what we thought it was going to be? Is it?
Not yet. Waiting. I'll be frank, and I've kind of said this in other episodes before that while Smuggler's Run is really, really freaking cool.
Right.
Not gonna lie, Smuggler's Run is dope. The thing that I want to ride is Rise of the Resistance. That's what I'm waiting for.
Right.
There are a couple of things where I feel that they had to make concessions. They couldn't have the droids running around. We've seen the test footage of that with everybody farting around with the droids.
Yeah, and
that's why you can't have nice things, kids. But there's logistics behind it and everything else. So we get it. I did hate to see the barriers put up around the Falcon. However, that being stated, I understand it.
Yeah.
As somebody who's gone to the Smithsonian and literally stood over the barrier so he could touch the space shuttle.
Right.
Because I'm a nerd.
Right.
I get why they did it. You have to preserve it and everything else. So there are things that have come out. I've been watching. My brother went with his friends, and I got to see his viewpoint. Don't drink the blue milk; it's gross. He says. I think that's subject to opinion. They did have the interesting thing, and this is for us booze hounds. They did have on Galaxy's Edge. It came out on I think it was a Facebook group, if I remember, where they were talking about the booze prices in the cantina being legitimately nuts.
Yeah.
That being stated.
They did that so you don't have 50 of them and then go.
Well, that's it. You can only afford to drink so much at the. If you're sitting in the cantina all day at those prices, you're from Canabite. You've got cash. You're warmongering. But a lot of the higher end priced ones, I think we've been to enough clubs and bars in our career. I think it's safe to say at this point where the prices are about on par with what you would find in like a high end Vegas club. Any of the higher tiered stuff that has come out has been very oriented towards the collectible that you're getting with that drink.
Right.
So there's some fun stuff involved in it, and I can safely say that if I go to the park, I will sit down and have a drink, just to have the experience. Yeah.
Because you can.
And I'm 100% okay with chunking out the dollars for it, kids.
Right.
That's this is childhood me coming out saying I want to have this experience. So. The lightsaber selections that we've seen coming out, I'm a little on the fence with them. I have to go see it in person.
Yeah, it's from what I've seen, they look pretty.
Yeah.
I want to hold one in my hand and kind of like get a feel for it.
Yeah, the blades are a little short for my liking, but we'll see. The cool thing that has come out, and I've really got to hand it to Disney because they're putting Easter eggs in their merchandise.
Right.
Is the holocrons.
Right.
Where if you put the Jedi and the Sith holocron together, they start interacting.
Yeah.
And for me, that's like nobody had really known about that until they actually went home and put them together.
The reason I want to go is I want to take a picture in front of the Millennium Falcon, and I want to go shopping. Really, is what it comes down to. I want to. As soon as they announced the holocrons, I was like,
Yeah, to our point about possibly going this weekend, that's when
Yeah.
I started number crunching in my head, going like, yeah, I could totally afford to go do a one-day trip and everything else. Then I'm like, no, I can't, because I know exactly what I'm going to spend in the park.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy this.
Gotta
I'm
wait.
gonna buy this. I'm
Yeah.
gonna buy this, and yeah. So we're looking forward to going. Disney World version opens, I think, in a couple weeks.
Next year.
No,
Disney World next year. Or Disney World, no, you're right. Sorry, the hotel
the
opens
hotel
next year. Excuse
opens,
me.
and they've already broken ground and stuff like that. I'm waiting.
That's what I'm waiting
Oh,
for.
that was gonna be so cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into all the gaming stuff. Let's work our way up to Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Let's start off with it is a small company by the name of
Limited Run.
Limited Run is doing this awesome thing, and they are going to kick off this release where you can download. I think it's download. A bunch of old games and a bunch of old Star Wars games for your PS4. Again, we're winning, and it's
for Xbox too.
it's not on this article, it doesn't say. But it says what we're getting is Star Wars from the NES, Bounty Hunter, Dark Forces, Episode 1 Racer, so we get to go pod racing.
Yep.
Empire Strikes Back, that was on the NES, Jedi Knight.
Terrible game, sorry.
I'm not saying if they were good or bad games, I'm just saying this is what we're getting. We're getting Jedi Knight from the PC, Jedi Knight 2, we're getting Jedi Academy, all from the PC. Racer's Revenge, we're getting Rebel Assault, Shadows of the Empire, TIE Fighter, which was a cool game, and X-Wing, which was a cool game. So we're getting all these retro games that we grew up on. I'm really kind of like, there's a couple in there I think I'd actually want to play. I don't know if I want to spend the money for all, to get all of them, but there's a couple in there I'm like, I would play that.
And here's something that I actually want to reference, and actually should mention that this article kind of dictated, and this is what intrigues me the most, is the way they phrase it. They say it's being released on PC and N64. So because there are companies now that are making cartridges for the Nintendo, multi-game cartridge for the Nintendo and things like that, is this company actually producing a physical cartridge for those of us who have those things? So I think that would be cool. I don't know if that's what they meant when they said that. It's something that I could allude to, but that being stated, yeah, I'm excited to see these come out. Outside of my little comment about the Empire Strikes Back for NES, because I remember it. I remember all of these, actually, to be honest.
It was not good.
Yeah, X-Wing and TIE Fighter were dope back then on the computer. This was the Wing Commander era when they came out. The space, Battletech was big. Shadows of the Empire for the N64, I loved that game. It was the first game that actually gave me vertigo.
Really? Yeah.
Because there was a point where you were about to engage Boba Fett. I can't really if I remember this. And you're walking along a canyon rim, and you're trying to infiltrate, and you look down. Like, you take the character and you look down, and I was like, I remember being in front of my TV, in like '95, going, whoa. And I actually got vertigo for a little bit because it was at that level at that time.
Right.
Jedi Outcast, Jedi Academy, Jedi Knight. Played every single one of those. Loved them. Dark Forces was the Doom of the Star Wars universe. It was ridiculously fun. I'm stoked.
This was one of the announcements outside of the Fallen Order that I was like, yup and yup and yup. But Pod Racer one is I played the crap out of that Pod Racer game because I like racing games, and so that Pod Racer game was all. And the graphics for when it came out in '99 were really good.
And you're right, they actually
hold up pretty well for nowadays.
And the fun thing about that too is, and I got to be honest, I didn't really play it on the home console. I played it a few times on the
big
home
arcade
console.
one.
I played it in the arcade religiously. Why? Because it was the first racing game that was out there that you could actually have the levers. I loved that dynamic with the racing game. It was silly. I go down to Starfighter. And
I was gonna say we have a place here, a giant warehouse of games, and they put them on free play, and you go pay whatever. It's $6 to get in, and they have one of those big.
Still play it
in the Pod Racer, and it's in the back corner. Nobody knows it's there, so it's almost always open, and so.
Still play it.
One of the other games that came out is they're coming out. It's actually it was part of the Xbox briefing, but I'm sure it's going to come out on all the platforms.
Yeah, it will.
Is we're getting Star Wars, and I gotta remember how. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
All 9 movies in a game.
In a game. Now. I may or may not have played the crap out of. I'm trying to see if it's still over there. I might have gotten rid of it. I had New Hope, Empire, Return of the Jedi as one game, and I played the crap out of that thing.
Because it's funny.
Yeah,
fun.
It's fun. It's very childish, but I still have a bowling bag full of Legos that I get out every once in a while, so it's not that childish. But the idea that you can play a Lego version of this game, and the graphics on the Lego games are so cool.
They actually are.
They are so cool.
You gotta build things halfway through a quest, so you have the elements in there, but they're funny. They add a nice little, nice fresh take on it.
And you're gonna get everything too, including the new Rise of Skywalker. So, and it's gonna be a continuous storyline that's gonna be easy to go along with and play along. I really enjoy the Lego games. The Marvel Avengers one that I played was not as good, but the Indiana Jones one was really awesome. And and the Star Wars one was a lot of fun. So that was a lot of really worth it for me.
Yeah.
We did a trailer reaction for the story trailer for Fallen Order, and then we've also both watched the 15-minute gameplay trailer.
Yep.
If you want to go look at the story trailer reaction that we did, it's up on the page. I will tag it at the end of this video. Or if you're on the podcast feed, go to the YouTube channel and go. And I keep forgetting that we're on the podcast too. Right. Sorry, guys. We talked about it in the trailer reaction. I want to talk about it just for a second here, and then we got something today that is going to tie into the game, and it's going to be called Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order Dark Temple. And it's going to be a prequel comic that's going to be for the game, and it's going to introduce us to one of the characters, Suri Junda. So I'm interested to see that's the main Jedi Master Eno Cordova. And so that they're on supposed to be a simple mission, and it goes sideways like most simple missions do. And but this is going to introduce her, and then she's going to be in the game, training the Jedi whose name I just left me. The young guy. They just said it.
Kyle Katarn.
Yeah.
It's not Kyle.
I'm going to go with Kyle Katarn.
Close enough.
But she's going to be the one that's be training him in the game. So we talked about this via text today. Merchandising.
Star Wars everything. Come and get it now, kids. The toilet paper's coming. We trust you. That's, everything that they're releasing right now is gonna have.
I have no problem with any of this.
I know, but it's they're gonna have a tie-in. We can almost predict it now. It's almost palatable, the prediction of, oh wait, something new Star Wars coming up. Here's the comic miniseries. That's the prelude to it.
Yeah.
Why? Because we still buy comics, and I like to wait for the cliff notes at the end of the day. I can't go to the store all the time and get comics.
Wikipedia.
I mean, I hate to say it, that's always been. It's the guys who run Wikipedia are awesome. They're on it.
Yeah, they are on top of it.
But it's nice to see it. The comics have actually, as of late, all joking aside, the comics as of late have been really good reads. It's not. They're not. I wouldn't want to say that they're like the comics we had growing up. The storylines are deeper. They understand that people want more of a story arc. And it's a nice way for them to fill in the holes inexpensively.
And they're connected to everything else.
Right.
And that was one of the things about the old comics from our time, was they were just kind of their own story arc.
That's true.
And even the Dark Disciple, no, what was it called? The Vader comic, the short, I think it's Dark Disciple. No, that's the other book. It's the Vader comic that's going on, and it's the urban legends of Darth Vader. So it's canon, but it's stylized.
Point of view,
yeah. It's very much the certain point of view kind of thing. And so they're doing this too with Black Spire, the Black Spire book, Black Spire Outpost comic that's coming, all the stuff for Batu and Galaxy's Edge is all coming towards the end of the year. So for me, as the new canon book reader of the group, I like this. I like to have this new stuff that adds layers to when we get to whatever it is, the movie, the game, whatever, and it connects. So when they announced this, I'm like, well, shit. I got to go buy 5 comics, and I got to get caught up in the Vader one, because the first one was the Vader riding the horse with the shield.
the Frazetta death
The,
dealer
yeah,
cover.
yeah. So I read that one. It was really good. And there's been a couple that's come out since then. And there's another set of comics I gotta go to Samurai. Samurai, you are more than welcome to sponsor our show. Brandon's Comics is also more than welcome to.
Gotham's good too.
Gotham's pretty good. Gotham. We're just gonna pimp this until somebody says, yeah, hey, here's some comics. Talk about us on the show.
We're in there enough.
But let's talk about Fallen Order. We just talked about it with the trailer reaction.
Yep.
But the thing that we didn't talk about.
The one connection we forgot to mention.
The one connection.
Possible connection, I should say.
This is why we were talking about earlier about everything's connected. This is our version of how everything is connected.
Yeah.
So you can.
In an ideal world, maybe.
We don't know. Yeah, whatever. So what was the one connection?
So the one connection would be because this takes place in a time period that is not yet to Rogue One, but close to Rogue One.
Right.
And a time that might be a little bit post-Rebels or within the Rebel storyline. We talked about the VR storyline that is twofold. So when we did a video a while back about, what is it? It wasn't Shadows of the Empire. Something of the Empire, and I totally space on the name of it right now.
It's Void VR.
Void VR, but the storyline deals with a dark prototype saber. Not quite the dark saber, but not quite a lightsaber.
Right.
And it deals with this. Now, for those of you who are into VR, Oculus Quest came out, and the first one was Beta Immortal, which is a direct tie-in and connection to that Void VR experience, which is one part of the story. So there is that saber. Now, because the Void VR takes place with Cassian Andor giving you the debriefing before you go in, we know it takes place within this time frame.
Right.
And we know that it is a canon component that they're weaving in and out of the current mythology stuff that they're doing. So might this come up in the game?
Yeah, I like the idea that the Darksaber specifically would be a very interesting thing to have pop up.
And when we say Darksaber, kids, it's not the actual Mandalorian Darksaber. It is this double-pronged tuning fork looking type of saber that happens to have a dark hue to it.
There's the gun. The Mandalorian gun that Boba Fett uses in the the cartoon holiday special.
Yep.
And that's showing up in the Mandalorian. There's already been pictures of that. So bringing these Darksaber, this gun, like these different things in, and having them hinted at, talked about, but not really not connective tissue. That's where I'm trying to go.
No, it's exactly it.
And to the different things would be kind of cool to have. One of the things we talked about in the trailer reaction is people that we think about seeing, that we're going to see in this game.
Yep.
And we saw Saw Gerrera in the trailer itself. We saw a K2 unit. We don't know if it's K2 SO specifically. We talked about Rebels characters or the Ghost showing up or Chopper. We talked about Rogue One characters. Cassian makes the most sense.
Yeah.
What about Vader? If we're going to have Vader Immortal and we're going to talk about this dark saber, Cody Fingers, showing up, do you get to the final boss and it's Vader?
They did say at Star Wars Celebration there is going to be a payoff for finishing this game. So there's going to be something. And to be frank, if it's a Vader thing, it's going to be. If they make Vader, as much as I love Vader to my core. As much as I love Vader, if he ends up being the final boss, it's going to seem cheap. It's going to seem like a throwaway because you had to fight him in Force Unleashed. You had to go up against Vader. So it's going to seem like a throwaway. I would expect to see him at some point in the game, whether in a cutscene, whether in a connective tissue, whether you do go up against him at some point, even in a passive scenario. I don't want to make him the big boss. I think there's too much with like you said, the connective tissue.
Would it be really cool if it's Maul?
Now that
it would make the time period all works.
So yes, because so there's another angle we didn't discuss in that thing.
Yeah, I just popped in my head. What if it's
the Solo
Maul?
thing? Because Solo at this point is a smuggler.
Yeah.
It's not Tatooine yet. It's so early on that Obi-Wan has not waxed. Spoiler review: if you haven't watched it, you should have by now. That Obi-Wan waxed Maul on Tatooine.
Right.
So it's far enough back that Maul is still in play.
Maul is in play, and if you're going to talk about that time period between Clone Wars and Rebels, that's prime Maul doing Crimson
Dawn,
Crimson Dawn, and taking over jeez, it's been a long day. Hi, you guys. But that whole story arc that goes on in Clone Wars and in Rebels, Maul's all a part of it. That would be kind of cool to have him be the big bad at the end of the game. Even Robot Leg, big bad of the game.
Yeah.
And it would be really cool if they got Ray Park to come in and do the mocap for it. So they did a bunch of mocap for this game, and so it'd be really cool if they had him come in.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I have to, and I'm gonna sound like a horrible Star Wars fan because there's just so much coming out that sometimes it's hard to keep up with it. They talk about the second sister, and they talk about the fact that the second sister, who was already in the comic, the second sister was a former Jedi who had fallen. Now that ties back in if we go back to Clone Wars or Rebels, I don't remember which, when Ahsoka was going after, I think it was Barriss Offee, if I remember. Barriss Offee was a female Jedi. She was green skinned, had the black freckles.
Yes.
She had fallen to the dark side.
And her name just came up recently too.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's a segue into Barriss Offee became the second sister.
Maybe.
As an Inquisitor as part of the fall, but I thought this is where, help us out here.
Yeah,
make a comment because I don't remember she got whacked during that episode.
Yeah, I don't.
She came back a couple of times.
That name's popped up a couple of different times recently too. So I'm thinking maybe that might be a possibility.
Comment below.
Comment below. So that's going to be the show this week. We're trying to do condensed kind of shows. Once our lives get a little bit more figured out, we're going to do more of the
Terrible.
Skype.
You sound like we haven't figured out our lives yet.
When we get our lives figured out, because we're grown-ass men in our 40s.
That's a fact.
Really what we're going to try to do is the podcast thing, a longer form conversation once a week with the addition of the news. So we'll do a news thing and we'll do like a long form conversation, but we're going to Skype it so Josh doesn't have to drive across town and hang out in my couch. My couch is bitching. It's a futon right now.
It's comfy though.
We're looking for sponsors, guys. This is what it's come down to. For those of you who are going to be there, we will be. Janice and I will be at Las Vegas Comic-Con this weekend for the convention up there to see the Infinity Gauntlet crew, the group who put the Infinity Gauntlet together. Daniel Logan, who played Boba Fett in Episode 2, will be there.
I don't get to be there, so you better get pictures if you're running Daniel Logan after all the interchange.
Yeah. We're gonna do our best to see if we can get catch up with him or whatever we can do. Or even if it's just to run over and take a photo of him holding the shirt or something like
Absolutely.
that. But maybe we'll take him a shirt. Maybe we'll take him a shirt. But we'll be there. We'll be doing what we did at Phoenix Fan Fusion this year. So if you see us on over the weekend while we're there, and you come up and say, I'm a member of the Pop Culture Cult, and prove to us that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, we will give you a prize. And we have some Star Wars based prizes still in the pile. So hopefully you'll run into us there. And please send us all of your friends, have them subscribe to the channel. Help us out on Patreon. We're working towards a Star Wars goal there where we will drunkenly watch the holiday special.
I'll tell you what, too. I'll even sweeten the pot on that.
Oh, God.
If you guys get to that goal, if you guys start subscribing and get to that goal, I will find the most obnoxious flippin' Star Wars shirt, because I almost never wear Star Wars shirts.
Right.
Because I don't own a metric ton of them, because I've been shrinking a little bit, so I haven't bought a lot. I will go find the most obnoxious Star Wars shirt, and it'll probably be pink, because I know they make one. And I look terrible in pink,
The
kids.
pink with the Day of the Dead, the Stormtrooper helmet
I might have my wife pick it. That'll go over well. And I will wear it on camera so you guys can watch it, my chubby butt.
We want 25 patrons. It's $1 a month. It's not that hard. Come on, help us out here, guys. And also follow us on all of our social media stuff, the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff.
You guys know the drill.
You know the drill. It's all in the description below. And until next time, good night, cult members.